going to talk about is the power of the internet. And as an older person, most of us are a bit frightened by it and a bit alarmed and don't know where to start. However, if an issue does come up, don't be frightened. Get in there and research it. I've had experience of this in that my husband, who is disabled and we lived abroad, lost our disability living allowance. And only by looking on the internet, I discovered that someone was trying to change the law on this.
I actually worked for the government, but they didn't make it clear to me that if I took a certificate of election, I would elect to pay the smaller stamp. Now, I didn't understand that at the time until 8 years before I retired, and I was at a meeting and they were talking about this, and I thought, no, I must have this wrong, because they told me that I was getting 14 pence a week pension. Now, I've been retired 8 years and I get 28 pence a week pension. So I think this is all wrong. The government did say they were looking at this, the smaller pension, and they would maybe have to do something about it.
But I have a restricted old age pension because there were a number of years in self-employment that I understood because we were a small business, we didn't have to pay national insurance, and I understood it was being credited, which was a misunderstanding on my part. This has resulted in my husband and myself both having reduced old age pensions because of the years that are missing. Now, I'm in my 70s, I'm still working, but I don't pay national insurance. And I feel that there's an anomaly in there, because I would have liked to have paid back I think it was about 6 years unpaid insurance, national insurance, and at the time that the window was available to pay it back, we didn't have the funding to pay it back because we'd closed a small business. And by the time we had some funding to pay back the missed years, we had missed the window of opportunity. And I've been working ever since then, through my 60s, into my 70s. And of course I haven't been paying national insurance, but I've been doing my bit. Personally, I would be in a position now to pay back the unpaid years to make up our reduced pensions up to full pension again. But I also think I don't agree with the fact that somebody on a current pension should not get the full amount when the pension changes. We've done our bit, so why don't we get the same pension?
So my wife had to wait until I reached minimum pension age at 65, and she was awarded the princely sum of £66 because of my contributions. New Pension Minister, Mr. Steve Webb, has come up with this idea about a universal payment for £146 a week from 2016. This won't apply to my wife. Well, I keep finding out it doesn't apply to her. Now, I don't think it's fair. Someone somewhere should open a small voice like mine and say, look, something must be done. It seems a bit unfair that they're setting up this process to come out with this very large amount of pension. Meanwhile, married women who paid the small stamp are left with a figure of £66.
And I'd like to talk about an issue concerning pension credit. I spoke to a welfare rights officer who said that he thought there were a lot of people in my situation. I'm unhappy about the way the government calculates it. I also feel insulted by my MP's response, who simply repeated what the government said with no other comment whatsoever. I do realise it is a problem, but I don't think it should be beyond the government to work out some way of looking at people who have done what they were told, saved a little for their old age, lost any interest, and now we're told with the DWP, you've got to use your savings up. But be careful how you use your savings up, because you'll have to provide receipts to show that you haven't wasted it.